Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this week's Tuesday tutorial. So today I'm going to be doing a makeup brush 101. So these are my makeup brushes. I know it's a lot. You don't need this many. I'm just letting you know that now. But if you'd like to kind of learn how I use certain brushes, what brushes I think you might need in a collection, then please keep on watching. Just so you know, I do upload a daily video here on this channel all about budget beauty. So it can be skincare, fragrance, makeup. It can be even tips and tricks or a tutorial. So make sure you do subscribe, hit that notification bell, bookmark the page even. That way you can come on back and watch whenever you'd like to. I also do a live stream every single day of the week. That is correct. Monday through Saturday, it is at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays, it is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come hang out, come chat with me. I love getting to know my viewers and subscribers. Trying to get really quick with my intro. Okay, so like I was saying, you don't need this many makeup brushes. This is obsessive. This is too many makeup brushes, okay? I love makeup brushes, like I love all cosmetic products, but you really don't need more than, like, I'd say 10 or 15, like realistically. You don't. Okay, so very first thing I'm going to start with, because I think most people have probably seen these. Some of these are dirty. I apologize. But anyway, so I'm going to be going through, this is an old school classic. So these are foundation brushes. So what a lot of people do or would use these for is for basically painting on foundation. I personally don't like using these for foundation because it gets kind of streaky. But these are what those are for. These are for applying foundation. I do like to use these for blending out eyeshadow primer. This is what I use this brush only for, is for blending out eyeshadow primer, okay? But these are what these are for. So if you've ever seen these are just foundation brushes. So once again, in my personal opinion, these kind of brushes can make it look very streaky and you can see brush strokes. So what I personally like to use for foundation is something called a flat top kabuki brush. So these are both technically a type of kabuki brush. What a kabuki brush is it's like a very densely packed brush. This one is a flat top, and sorry, this one is stained, but okay, it's really dense, okay? You really can't see through the bristles, okay? You really have to spread them open to see through them. This one has more of a stippling style where the bristles on top are a little bit thinner, okay? But what this basically does is that you can really stipple on and get the most coverage when it comes to foundation, concealer, whatever. So the denser the brush, the heavier the coverage is going to be. Okay, so I personally like to use these types of flat brushes to apply foundation. So even something like this, even though it's slightly a different shape, it's still kind of got that very dense flat top. Anything like this, if you're looking for a heavier coverage for foundation or concealer, that's really going to give you that really good heavy coverage. So, and you can definitely blend it out, whatever. Okay, so got so many brushes, all of them are falling. Okay, so next we're going to go through fan brushes. So this is a fan brush, okay? What a lot of people will use this for is for applying highlighter. You can use it for any kind of small detailed work, okay? These are also fan brushes. So as you can see, fan brushes come in a lot of different shapes and sizes and density. This one, it's not very dense. You can kind of see through it. It's very thin, okay? So this is going to give you a very soft, even, like it's going to be a very soft sheer coverage, okay? So it'd be perfect for a super glittery highlighter, something like that, okay? So do you see how thick and fat this one is? There's a lot of bristles. This one is thin and it's not very dense, okay? So what a lot of people will use these big fan brushes for are for bronzer or even contouring, okay? Once again, these are denser, so it's going to pack on more color. You can definitely use these for putting on highlighter, but just be aware that the more dense, the more bristles, the more tightly packed the bristles are, the more it's going to give you a heavier coverage, okay? So that's what fan brushes are, okay? They look like this, and you can highlight, contour, whatever, bronze, blush even, okay? The thing with brushes is there's really no right and wrong way to use them, okay? Like, you don't have to use a brush the way it was intended for, okay? But just know the difference between the density of the bristles, so that way you're not gonna, you go in with this with a very shimmery, glittery highlighter, okay? And you're gonna be shocked by how much it really deposits onto the face, okay? Because there's more bristles and they're more tightly packed to pick up product. When you go to apply, it's gonna transfer most of that product straight onto the skin, so just be aware of that. Okay, so we're gonna go through the anatomy of a brush, okay? So obviously, this part right here, these are the bristles, this is the head of the brush, okay? And then this silver part right here, this is called the ferrule. That's where the bristles are kind of attached, okay? So when you're washing your brushes, you wanna make sure you're trying to avoid getting water in the ferrule area, because this is where the bristles are kind of glued into. Okay, but you see this ferrule right here is gold, kind of a rose gold. This one is silver. So all the ferrule is where the bristles are attached to the handle. Okay, that's all this is. Okay, so we got our brush, the bristles or the head. This is the ferrule, and then obviously this is the handle. Okay, so a good brush, okay, it should be pretty even, okay? This one, it's not a super high-end brush, okay? This is Sedona Lace. It's not like buying it off a Wish, but I mean, there are brushes out there that are hundreds of dollars, okay? There are even something like a Morphe brush. It's still affordable, but it can be $5, $6, $10, $12 per brush, okay? I personally don't have brushes that expensive. A lot of my brushes are from Amazon or Wish, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But your brushes should be pretty even. You should be able to kind of hold them right in the middle, and the ferrule shouldn't be so heavy that it's dragging your brush down, but it also shouldn't be so light that your handle's dragging, okay? But that's kind of the anatomy of a brush. Okay, so we have powder brushes, okay? We have blush brushes, bronzer brushes. There are all sorts of big, giant, fluffy brushes, and guess what? You can use them for whatever you'd like. I want to hurry up and show you something while we're here. So, remember, this is called the ferrule, and look what happens when a brush gets old and wet. Okay, so my ferrule totally came unattached from my handle. I can super glue this, but this brush is not going to be lasting very much longer. Okay. Also, if you do get it very, down in this area, very, very wet, you can ask your brush can start shedding because it will actually loosen up that glue. But, okay, if this does happen to one of your makeup brushes, the ferrule comes unattached, go ahead, you can super glue it. But just so you know, it's going to be very delicate because I have actually super glued this a few times. But just so you know what's going to happen, it's going to happen. Okay, so here we have quite a few large brushes, okay? Some of them are angled, okay? So this one you can kind of see is kind of got an angled cut. Some of them are domed, where it's not straight across, okay, but it's got a nice kind of dome shape. I personally like using the dome-shaped ones for blush. Just gives a really nice effect. Here's another one. Once again, another one. These are also great for bronzer, okay? But dome-shaped ones are very, very popular, and you can use them for bronzer, highlighting, contour, powder. You can use them for anything. You can even blend out foundation with one of these. Once again, there's really no strict rule when it comes to makeup brushes. Okay, you're gonna have to try different brushes for different things. I have found brushes that I really, really love. I personally love, this one I use bronzer. I use this one for bronzer. I don't use it for powder. I don't use it for blush. This is my bronzer brush. I really love this brush for bronzer. It's dense. Once again, you really can't see through. They're very kind of tightly packed together, okay? But it's still very, very soft. But it just gives a beautiful look to the skin when applying bronzer. This one, on the other hand, this one is from Moda brushes. This one I like to use for powder. Once again, it's very, very dense. This would also be great for foundation, but it's very, very dense, very, very soft. But I really like this because I do like a heavier powder. As you can see, I'm already starting to get a little greasy in my T-zone. And this is great because it covers a large surface area and it holds a lot of powder. I use this powder brush today, and as you can see, it still has powder in it because it's really cutting down on that shine. But once again, it's not so dense and so hard where when I put out my face, the bristles do spread. Okay, there are some brushes that are so dense and so tightly packed that when you put it on your face, for example, I'll show you the difference. The flat top Kabuki, this one, it doesn't spread a ton because it's very tight and densely packed. Okay, that's why it will give you really, really good coverage. This one, on the other hand, this one does spread a little bit when you put it on the skin. So, okay, so yeah, I love domed brushes. They're great for applying any kind of powder or cream product. Just, you're gonna have to try to find the right size and density level that works for you. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and move on to smaller brushes. Okay, so these are going to be things like blush brushes and highlighting brushes and stuff like that. Okay, so these are all small face brushes. Okay, so I'm going to pull out some that are actually marked as highlighting. Okay, so these four right here are all kind of marketed as highlighting brushes. Okay, and as you can see, they're all slightly smaller. Okay, these two are Wet n Wild. Okay, this one right here, it's very soft, a little bit flares out, right? Do you see how at the ferrule right here, it's kind of tapered and then it kind of flares out. So it's dense, but it's not super dense. If you can kind of see, this one on the other hand is very dense. So out of these two, which one do you think is going to give you the most intense highlighter just right off the bat? Okay, if you said this one right here, you're correct because this brush is a lot more dense. Watch. Okay, do you see how when I applied it to my face, the bristles kind of bend and move? This one, it's a lot more dense. Okay, so this one is automatically going to give me the most impactful highlighter or whatever I'm using it for. Density is really important. Okay, once again, this is a highlighter brush. Okay, once again, it's kind of tapered. Okay, and it's dense, but it's small enough where you can really get into that upper cheekbone area and really add highlight. Okay, so these three are all blush brushes. Okay, blush brushes usually have a pretty good density level. They're not super duper dense like a Kabuki brush, but they still have a pretty good amount of density. Okay, and they're usually smaller. Okay, because right away you're not wanting to, most people aren't going to want to use a brush this big. Okay, to go in with blush, because this is going to give you a lot of blush. It's going to cover a lot of surface area, while this brush, you're really going to be able to control where you're applying that blush. So, very similar shape, just this one is smaller and a little bit less dense. Okay, so I know people are going to remember these, but these are the good old-fashioned paddle brushes. So these are like the Artiste brush dupes that were popular, like 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. But what's nice about these is look how dense these are. And I got a whole set here, got a whole big set of these, all different sizes. But these are extremely dense brushes, okay? I mean, they are dense, okay? Like they feel like velvet. You can see how close those bristles are packed together. Okay, so these types of brushes, the paddle brushes, these are gonna give the most coverage, okay? They're quick because they're large, okay? But they're gonna give a lot of coverage because, can you imagine foundation trying to sink into this compared to even something like this? Okay, this is dense, but this is way denser. There's like no space in between these bristles, okay? So product isn't gonna soak into the brush as much, which means that the product's gonna be laid on top, and it's going to transfer pretty much all of it to the skin. So you're going to get very high coverage, and it's going to be very quick to blend out. So I really do like these brushes. They're hard to clean just because of how dense they are. They're very, very difficult to clean. But yeah. Okay, so next we're going to move on to eye brushes. Eye brushes are probably one of my favorites just because there's so many different types and all that kind of stuff. And once again, I don't use brushes maybe the exact same way you would or do, but okay, so we're just going to go with some basics, okay? So this big one right here, do you see how big it is compared to my eye? So, and it's very dense, okay? This is a blending brush, okay? So is this one. Okay, all a blending brush is it has a larger head, okay? And it's dense. And what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to really help to blend out harsh lines, okay? So if a brush looks pretty large, okay, it's most likely going to be a blending brush. Okay, because you're going to be able to kind of fit it over your whole entire eye area that you're trying to blend, and it's going to help blend things quickly and evenly because of the density. Okay, so next we have these are considered more of a crease brush. Okay, this one's tapered, this one is rounded, but what's nice is this can kind of go into that crease area, kind of where the hollow of your eye is. Okay, and you can apply color there, you can help to blend out that area. This is also a crease brush, but as you can see, we've got two different sizes here. This is going to give you a lot more precise color application, because you can just really fit it right into that socket, and you can give much more of a intense line in that area, and then you can go in with another brush and you can blend it out. So these are both crease brushes, but okay, one's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit more precise. It's going to give you more control, the smaller one. Okay, so this, I think everyone has some of these in their collection, okay? I don't have a ton because, I'll be honest, this is probably one of my least favorite types of brushes, okay? But this is a flat shader, okay? Some people call them a packer. This is a very slender, thin, dense brush. And what a lot of people will use these for is for applying shadow to the lid. It gives you a lot of control, okay? Because if I wanted to like just put shadow like right up to my crease area, I have that control. I personally don't like going in with these type of brushes. I like to use a finger just because I can cover a lot more surface area. I feel like it gives me more of an even application. But if you do see a brush that's pretty flat like this and smaller, it's most likely going to be a shader brush. Okay. Next, okay, we've got some pencil brushes here. Pencil / smudging. Okay, so these three right here, they're all going to be considered a type of pencil brush. What a pencil brush is for is it's going to be very dense and very small. That way you can really get in there and really focus that color or that blending in one very precise area. So this one's pointed, as you can see. I could pretty much do like a powdered liner anywhere I want to do this. Okay, this one right here is angled. Once again, very, very dense. Very, very small. So I could put shadow on this and really smoke out this area. But once again, I have a lot of control because it's so small. Okay. And then I've got these brushes right here. This is a nice chubby pencil brush, very, very dense. This one is a more smaller pencil brush. But once again, these are my two favorite brushes for smoking out my under eye. If you've watched any of my videos, you've definitely seen these. Love them for smoking out that under eye quickly, but yet again, I have all the control I need because they are so small and precise. So, love these. Okay, next, we'll just speed through these next ones right here. Okay, so I know everyone knows what these are. These are spoolies. Okay, these are for spooling out your eyebrows. You can even use them on your lashes. Next, we have an angled brush on one end of most spoolies. What this is for brows. Okay, so a lot of them are pretty thick. So this is a Wet n Wild one. I just want you to see if you can see the difference. Okay, so one of them is very, very thin. I can't do this, I don't know. Okay, so one is going to be more suited for eyebrows. Okay, so this Black Sedona Lace one, it's a lot thinner. It's not as wide as this Wet n Wild one. Okay, so I would use the thinner one, the one that isn't as thick. I would use that one for putting brow product in, whatever. If it's a little bit thicker, these angled ones do great for liner. So if you just want to smudge some liner on, if you want to do a small wing, one of these angled brushes, even if it's a little bit thicker, it's going to be great for applying like shadow as liner or even gel liner, anything like that. So, but yeah, yeah. And then the last brush I am going to talk about, this is a smudger brush. So basically what this is going to do is wherever you go in with this, it's going to help to soften and kind of smoke out whatever you're going over. So let's say I put too much shadow underneath my lower lash line. What I can do is I can grab my smudger brush. This is extremely dense. Feels pretty hard actually, and I can actually go straight in and I can just go right over that. And I'd be able to basically just smudge it out, kind of blow it out, so that way it's not going to be as intense. Okay, great brush to have in your collection. So once again, you don't need this many brushes. This is overkill. I will go ahead and link some of my favorite brushes, including brush sets, down below. They'll be an Amazon affiliate link. You're welcome to use them, but you definitely don't need to. You know, I would love to someday have Sigma brushes or really expensive brushes, but you honestly don't need it. What it is you need practice when it comes to your brushes. You need to find out what brushes work best for you. That's why I think it is really nice to get a more affordable 10 or 12 piece set. That way you can practice and you'll be like, oh, I really don't like a fan brush for applying highlighter. I like a more tapered, smaller face brush. Or I don't like a flat top kabuki for applying my foundation. I like using a sponge, okay? You need time to play and practice and really find out what works best for you. So there we go. I will definitely be doing another part to this when it comes to cleaning brushes, like the best way. I actually have a super awesome, great find from the Dollar Tree for cleaning makeup brushes, and it gets them super clean, but it's really gentle. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's Tutorial Tuesday. I got brush hairs all over my face. Super great. If you did, please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and share it. Leave a comment down below. What are some of your favorite makeup brushes? Like brand, whatever. I'd love to know down below in the comments. And just so you know, I do have another channel. It's called Gourmet on a Budget, and it's all about budget food, so recipes and taste tests and snacks and all sorts of stuff. I upload on that one 7 days a week as well, so make sure you go subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it. And you're always welcome to follow me on my other social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's all at Budget Glam Babe. Don't go anywhere quite yet. Another video should start autoplaying here very shortly, or you can always click on one of the ones. I'll be popping up around the screen. But yeah, I'll see you here in just a sec.